Hey everyone, welcome to the Noble Podcast. I'm here again with my friend Nova-Solstice, and we're going to talk about champion updates, reworks, and how they're different from who they used to be before. Take it away, Nova.
Okay. So this one is my topic, I guess. I mean, I honestly really wanted to get the word out that, at least with my voice, I think I've said it all over the forums, about how these reworks, like, they fix one problem, usually, and then they shit on another. I mean, I wanted to start off with Poppy, because I think Poppy would be, like, the one where no one can disagree with me. Because her visuals are okay. There's no complaints. She looks cute for a Yordle. Okay, I mean, back then she had this smug brick black chick face. Whatever. But yeah, now her voice and personality, I mean, yeah, the original, like I said, had this really serious monotone chick that all she wanted to do was smash you in the face with a hammer. Now she did see if she were human, she'd be full on blonde, kind of like blind, daft. There are so many words that describe her. It was like, it all seems like it was in an attempt to make her cute, but just a little while before, I don't know how long exactly, they had done Tristana, who already fit the role of a cute Yordle girl, and I'll give into her in a little while too. But like they I don't know if it started with Poppy, but they had like this. They started like stealing Gearbox's type of comedy, which Gearbox. It took me a while to get used to their comedy in Borderlands. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I know you and I have mixed opinions, but hell, when it came to the personality of characters, I think even you could find some silver linings. I mean, in Borderlands, when Roland was like a siren, and then Lilith just fucking teleports the entire island, or at that point island, main hub, whatever. But yeah, even you appreciated that. But yeah, their comedy Riot now is like trying to have that little snappy one-liner kind of.
Yeah, I got that feeling from pretty much every champion rework, and I'm trying to come up with the lines in my head right now. You know, like when, for example, when Poppy decides to use her hammer, and it's always like, "See you when you get back," or with Rise and his rework, it's like, "I read the rules, you lose." Back in the day, Poppy really didn't say anything. She just wanted to smash you in the face with a hammer. She had no real personality. And Rives, back in the old day, was like the old man who was just like really grumpy. He's just like, "Damn you kids." And it's like, let's go. And he just like hits you with magic spells. And now they have a little bit more character to him. And with Rise, I kind of like it a little bit. I just wish they kind of didn't make every character sound snappy one-liners. They all kind of have like the Seto Kaiba type of thing where they have a very specific cadence and they all sound like they all have to end on a really cool line.
Oh god. Like if they did it just a few times, that's one thing. But all of them seem to have like the same writer, same guy. Yeah. Here's another snappy one-line winner. Let's put it on this character. Okay, John, we get it. You're the only guy with comedy here, but you know, maybe we can try something different. But no, John has to be the writer for fucking every rework champion that tries at their hand at humor. I mean, honestly, I found it a breath of relief when the old Poppy was like, jokes. I don't have any jokes. Like, you know, I'm glad she's not trying.
And now she has a joke that never fucking ends. It's like a 15-part joke, which is supposed to pay homage to the original Poppy. What I made like a really quick list of champions that I feel like they've gutted them and decided to do a complete overhaul. So the obvious ones that we talked about were Poppy. Like, back in the day, she would hit you for like a bajillion damage. She'd have a shield and a little bit of movement speed. She'd have her tackle, which she still has. And then her ultimate was, I ult the enemy Nami, and then I attack the AD carry. That's
oh god.
That's support. Blame that person for just existing, because Poppy's old ultimate was she'd ult someone, and only she and that person would be able to do damage. Like, only the person that was ulted could do damage to Poppy. So you ult the weakest link of the party, and then you attack the most important link, which is typically the AD carry, and the AD carry can't do any damage to you. I don't know where they came up with the idea of a hammer that just displaces everyone. It's a very powerful ultimate. It can be used as a follow-up CC to tackle someone to a wall. It can be used to completely stop a team fight that you think is really, really bad, which is an executive order decision in League of Legends, like especially with top laners. It's very good macro thought if you can come away with it. But yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. They didn't preserve what made Poppy amazing, and that was, I'm going to fight this person, and I'm going to break everything about them. Her old Q was literally just an auto attack reset that exploded your life away. Now it requires technical skill, and it doesn't do even much damage, to be honest. It does respectable damage if you're trying to farm and also do some damage. It's like Maokai's Q. But yeah, that kind of makes me lead into my next point is Riot is kind of making every champion a little bit more convoluted, a little bit more complex to make the damage more rewarding. And nothing's as simple as just build a Triforce and some damage on Poppy and then Q someone. It's now you have to tackle them, you have to combo everything to get that damage, and it's the same damage over the long term, but I just wanted to Q someone and blow them up. So with Ryze,
I think Veigar's the only champion that, yeah, they haven't touched him yet, but he's the only one that could still just press a button and watch someone's health bar vanish.
Yeah, one
button, one light.
That's who he is, and then they changed his ultimate a little bit that it's an execute now, but I mean, like, that's kind of what it was anyway. But an execute from full HP. But I was going to talk about Ryze for a second. Ryze was only ever good when his stats were good. You know, like, he was a champion based around, like, numbers. So if Ryze had a big nerf to his numbers, he was garbage. No one played him. But if he had good numbers, he would just still be the same Ryze. He would just splash damage everyone and hurt a lot. Old Ryze would just throw his little E that hit everything, and then when he had his ultimate, his little E that hit everything will now do AoE damage, doing more damage, and you just keep spamming it. Now, you actually have to time things. You have to actually land your E, have the arcane rune go around the minions, Q that, and then it spreads it, and then you do it again and again and again, and it's just like, it's one more thing I have to worry about. It makes it more rewarding to last hit minions with your E and your Q, but I just like old Ryze where you just kind of like smashed your keyboard and you got success. They did the same thing with Katarina. Now she has this little knife blade thing. It's no longer easy to just annihilate people.
Ah, yeah, but Katarina, I mean, I didn't list her down as one of the ones I really wanted to talk about, but Katarina, she was a meme machine. It's smash head on keyboard, pentakill. And honestly, those were the funniest times ever. At least when you see the YouTubers nowadays making fun of it. I mean, pretty sure Professor Milk had one. Professor Milk. I know Magic Harpies Fly, he had one on her. Maybe Bricky, not sure. And yeah, Katarina was a meme machine. What more is there to say, at least about Katarina?
The one thing I wanted to bring up with Katarina is that she's an example of a champion that got reworked, and she's part of the camp of champions that got reworked, but they didn't change their personality. I think I want to really focus on the personality ones a little bit, because I have my list here. We started with Poppy and Ryze, and Ryze, he didn't have personality. They gave him one. Poppy had the very dominant but very boring character, so there was a lot to add to it. But I think earlier, before, I really wanted to talk about Taric, and you wanted to talk about Galio. Am I correct?
Yep, and I'm going straight into Galio once I get the chance.
I want to talk about Taric because I if Frosty was here, I'm pretty sure he would go into it, but I miss old Taric. He was just a big hunk of diamond that pressed E, stunned someone. His ultimate just gave free stats, gave everyone a free Baron buff. He had a pretty powerful, single target heal, and just being around him made you tanky. And it was great. There was a legendary combo back in the early days of League of Legends with Graves and Taric, and it would just be too much tank in the bot lane. And that was still kind of relevant, even with Graves being reworked as he was, with his shotgun mechanic. But yeah, they reworked Taric, and they made his heal absolute garbage. His W, which is kind of neat, you can give it to other people. His stun, which is, it's a skill shot. It can hit multiple people, but, it's just like, I like point and click. I don't like to have skill involved with my supports. And his ultimate, his ultimate is just a Kale ult, and it's absolutely amazing when done right, but I like the ball of stats. So they completely gutted what I liked about Taric. I like the Baron buff, and I like the point and click, and I like the ease of being a mega tank. And now he's just sort of he's just tanky-ish with a bunch of stuff. But another thing I noticed about him, and this is the main point that I'm talking about him, is when they updated Taric, they just went full gay on him. It was kind of implied that he was gay in the league lore. he's got a little bit of a thing going on with Ezreal. But that was just that's just one big meme. But it's like Riot was like, we know the meme. Let's cram the joke down your fucking throat and make him look like Fabio and have him dance like Madonna and talk about his tiny gems. And I don't think I have to make the reference that gems mean, family jewels. Family jewels is your ball sack. I'm just saying.
Oh man, I want a cut-in right now of that scene. I don't know who it was that made that video, but where the flash stun thing being his biggest play, and then everyone's just going crazy.
The biggest play you're ever going to make with this guy is doing a flashy.
I love that.
I think that is his biggest play that I miss so much. That Tarek's that play is hilarious for starters. I mean, hell, if you've seen the video this clip belongs to, that when you do that and you walk away a boss, your team is like, honestly, that's really all he could do. And it's still pretty helpful. And there's no way you can fuck it up either. Because really, it's a point and click. So, but that, yeah, I totally miss the old say. And as for his personality, though, I haven't actually gotten the chance to know names up.
It's just like with Tarek, and the same thing could be said about Poppy and Old Rise, is they just didn't say enough. And now,
I mean, hell, if we're the people that didn't say enough, Galio was definitely one of them. He needed the visual update, yeah, but I seriously resent Riot for turning him into the colossal moronic rockhead that he is. Like, they really drilled it up the butt that he wants to be the Guardian Gargoyle kind of guy.
Was that a city I stepped on?
Like seriously.
Aren't you a good guy, Galio? It's just like
I was trying to protect it with my foot.
Justice, Galio, Justice. That's my middle name, Justice. No, it's Galio, Justice. All you need is a very powerful, magic-absorbing tank. I don't know.
Riot's attempt to breathe life into these reworks both works and fails at the same time. Some of these things, they're applaudable, but oh my fucking god, these personalities sometimes they ride on your patience once you keep getting the same kind of crap with a different coding.
It's just too self-referential, and that's one of the things I don't like about it. I want them to just be characters, not like, I don't want the memes and whatnot to influence who they are, and I know it's undeniable that's going to be a part of it, but don't be so blatant about it.
I mean, the new champs, when they come out as who they are, your first impression of them is what they're trying to put down your throat. I mean, the new champs, the last one was Kane. He's a very, very dark and evil kind of guy. I don't want to use the word edgy because I feel the word's thrown around too much and people are basically just doing it because everyone else is doing it. Oh, he has a dark theme? Edgy.
Well, he is edgy. Look at that scythe. Edgy.
Yeah. Herm, and then before him was Rakan and Xayah, and I honestly adore them just because thematically they're the first champions that literally actually have a special interaction in game that actually affects your game towards each other. That's great.
I feel like, however, from the little I know of Rakan, he feels kind of like the problem I have with a lot of the new champion updates is he's got that overly cocky one-liner personality. I don't know much about the other one, but from what I've heard over your call, when you play Rakan, is like I just hear a bunch of this really, really cocky character, and maybe that's part of who he is, but Riot has kind of a tendency to have a bunch of cocky characters.
I think that Rakan, in his lore, he's a show-off. Like, this is actually fitting to him, because he's supposed to be the noisy show-off that basically takes up attention, because that's really all he likes to do, showboat and be the star. And within the lore, Xayah managed to do her assassinations because he would always be taking attention and being tremendously annoying.
And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's the new character, and if he's meant to be cocky, that's who he is. It's just a coincidence that Riot tends to make cocky characters. Like, we have Galio, Gallia was never cocky, now he is. Poppy never used to be cocky, now he is. Now she is. Same with Ryze, same with Tarek. Tristana, I guess she always was.
I mean, I do want to take a step back. Yeah, Ryze. Fuck is his obsession with the scroll now? The scroll, burn it. No one fucking cares. Darius wants to cleave his axe down the rest of your team after you. He doesn't care about your goddamn scroll.
I never understood Ryze and Brand. Apparently they have some lore together where, like, you know how Brand's like this fire monster thing? Apparently Ryze did that to him. There's like this tiny lore between them, and I never feel like it was ever really expanded upon. They're just like the mage dudes, but just instead of caring, play Syndra, play Annie, play anything else.
And then Tristana, I mean, yeah, we were talking more primarily over their personality, but Tristana is worst offense to Reworks ever, because before, I'll start off with personality for the sake of, but in personality, Tristana, back then, she was a little more flat, and, when she made her spamming that line, that I honestly love doing it. I love spamming that line because it was just so annoying. She was like, is that a rocket in your pocket? And now it's like, is that a rocket in your pocket? Like,
there's a mild amount of extra enthusiasm that you cannot handle.
It's like it doesn't sound so annoying anymore. It just sounds like she's authentically like noticing a rocket. Rather, the old Tristana, when she said it, you really got the vibe that she's talking about your dick. She's talking about your dick. I mean, I can deal with its new version. It's just not as innuendo and annoying as it was. But whatever. It's her gameplay that tilts the hell out of it. Nowadays I'm a support main. I find myself in bot lane 8 out of 10 games, and there is only one ABC, one in the entire game, with like about a 85 to 90% piece of bullshit rate. They are consistently bullshit, and that is literally Tristana. Tristana as an ABC, she sucks at almost all stages of the game. Back then, you could go bot lane with Tristana as support and go AP, and that was broken as hell, and I cannot sit here and say that Riot should not have fixed that. They were right fixing it, but fuck them, I enjoyed AP Tristana. So now, after the rework, why would you go bot lane Tristana, suck until you're level 18 and not a second before, unless you got super fed by basically had the enemy ABC thinking that the tower shots from the enemy tower is an empowerment beam. That's pretty much the only way you can win as Tristana early. Or hell of the other ones are Tristana. What was that too? Share the story. I mean, we literally just went through a game as the last game of the night before this. Share the story. Where is ADC Tristana better now?
I'm not going to say it's an absolute fact because I only played one game of it, but I played ADC Tristana top lane against a Yasuo who was rank 7. And keep in mind the MMR rating, again, is gold. For anyone who's like, oh, fuck these guys, they're bronze assholes. No, this was around gold rating, and again, not high at all by any means, but something to consider. I destroyed him. I destroyed him very good, and I made him rage so bad that he spammed an alt chat, and I added him as a friend, and I'm gonna highlight what he said. So if you're watching this, Yasuo rank 7, you're on my channel. What I found really, and not only did I destroy him, and you can I'll actually upload the replay on the Generally Good Gamers second.
Actually, why? Oh. Dude, just put it like right after this sentence in this stream. Why not? Just get some snippets of the good stuff and just put it right fucking here, and you could see.
Just why fucking not? I 1v2'd a goddamn Rengar Yasuo. Welcome to gold, people. The thing I liked about Tristana top is it's basically like Kayle, Teemo, Vayne. I mean, why are they allowed in top lane? they're ranged. Jace, Vlad.
And Jace kind of has that.
You're getting
that middle point there.
You're getting into more mechanics, but again, okay, let's bring it to things that are pretty much AD carries. You got Vayne, Teemo, and Kayle, and I'll just leave it at that. Why are they allowed top? Well, Vayne's a hyper carry. She's a tank buster. She can CC people away. Teemo is Teemo. He poisons you. He can give you objective control like no other. He can blind you, stop you from CSing. Very annoying. Kayle, she's got AoE. She's got an inbuilt heal, and she can 1v1 anyone once she gets a few items. And I pretty much build Tristana, who's got a really amazing escape, it makes up for a lack of heal, which is supposed to sustain you in lane longer. She's got a Vayne push with her ultimate, which is really the only reason I ever used it. And she's got the ability to push just like a Kayle with her E. But unlike Kayle, where she uses mana, not like it matters, she just auto attacks in the last hits and she gets to push the wave. And unlike those other three champions, unlike Vayne, Teemo, and Kayle, Tristana, if she wins the fight or forces her opponent to recall, she can break the tower with her E. And Q combo. You just auto attack the tower and do a tremendous amount of damage. It's kind of like Ziggs, People were laughing at Ziggs' AD carry, but he breaks towers, breaks your face. It's really funny. The game is all about pushing minions to the Nexus to break the Nexus. Doesn't really matter how many times you feed or whatnot. Push and break that thing. That's how you win the game. So with this Yasuo, he comes in, all guns blaze, and be like, I'm going to wreck this Tristana. And I just jab him in the face. I just keep using my range. I shoot him, break his shield, shoot him again, and back away. And I just keep doing that until he starts to tilt. Then he commits to a fight, and then he dies in a tower. And it's glorious. After getting myself a kill, I immediately break his tower, and then I kill him again in lane, and I break his other tower. I go with my team, I push down mid lane, and we just win the whole game. All the while, Yasuo is screaming his lungs out, saying, fuck this nigger and his cheese strat. And that makes me go into another argument, or another thought. If you lose to a cheese strat or a lame strategy, doesn't that make you more lame? I've always had that problem, and I hope I'm making sense here, because I brought this up in Discord. I'm a part of a bunch of Discords. I don't know which one I was talking to. About Soul Calibur. When I was growing up, I played fighting games, a lot of them, so I have some basic understanding of how to play fighters. In Soul Calibur, there's this character called Raphael. He's got a rapier, and if you stand neutral and just hit, he'll do this very close range whipping slash. It's up and down. So the idea is that if someone comes rushing at you, you stand neutral, they come at you, and you whip your sword up, you juggle them in the air, and you whip them down on the ground. And then they try getting up again, you whip them up in the face, you whip them back down. The idea how to counter that is to roll back so that you get distance, and then you stab the guy. You don't get close to do a close hit, you use a longer hit. So if you've got like a staff, that little close range juggling move that's very easy to understand how to counter, it's no longer a problem. But if you don't know what you're doing, Raphael can just keep slowly moving towards you to the point where you get to a ledge, and he can just juggle you up in the air, slam you down, and you slam right down off the stage. And, get a ring out. So, am I absolutely talented in Soul Calibur? No, I used a lame strategy. But I won. So
that's what matters at the end of the day.
And when you have people who are like, well, I'm not even good as this character, well, that's like the best way to admit that you suck at something. You're a rank 7 Yasuo, you've gotten S pluses before. You must be doing something right in some of your games.
And keep in mind, this is against Tristana at anywhere outside of the only time that I consider her worthwhile as an ABC. When she's level 18 with 5 or 6 items. And then right before that, and all the times before then, she's just so whatever. This Yasuo got crushed by a top lane Tristana, not an ABC. He probably, and when I think about it, as an ABC, Yasuo's roam down there and kill the ABC, Patarina and other ones with cat and good gap closers. So as an ABC, she'll probably survive because she could jump away, but if she already used her jump, she's going to die to a roam. Whereas if the guy who would normally be roaming is her actual lane opponent, she can save the jump to save her from him. Bam, he's shit. As what you did today. Like less than about an hour ago, actually. So then someone could make the argument, and I've received this argument before, well, she is good at breaking towers. And I can say that she is probably the best ABC at breaking towers, but not for a worthwhile margin compared to other ones that excel at breaking towers, like Jinx. Jinx can break towers faster than most other ABCs, and yet still be competent in battle. I mean, I think the meta right now is kind of shitting on her, but I don't exactly know why. So
the meta is basically making it so that tanks are a lot more valuable, and that's always the case because they're worth multiple champions. You know, ADCs have been around since forever. The entirety of support in ADCs has just been a constant strategy in the game, and it's so down pat you can't really change it. And because they're all item dependent champions, and what's an item dependent champion? Isn't every champion dependent on items? No, ADCs need damage to be useful. If they don't have damage items, they're worthless, unless you're Ashe. And that's actually a good example of a champion that isn't item dependent. For example, look at Nautilus. Nautilus could be naked and still be extremely useful. His entire kit gives him so much value. Like, his W is basically a ruby crystal. His ultimate is an immense amount of CC for the enemy team. You look at a champion like Zillion, the theoretical value of reviving someone could be worth anything from nothing to infinite money. Because if you revive the right person who breaks a nexus, that's a win. That's a one game. But you have an AD carry. If they don't do damage, which is dependent on their items, they're kind of useless. Same thing with assassins. Assassins are very dependent on items. I mean, what else is an assassin going to do? The person who needs to kill can't kill. They need items.
I mean, speaking of a person who used to be either kill or be absolutely no one, there's Fiora, she's like her visuals is a mixed bag of nuts to me. Like before, she looked sexy French, but kind of stiff. Now she looks much less stiff and fluent and everything, but she looks like a French bimbo.
I think she looks older now. I like what they did with her. Not so much the splash art. I could actually do a better job with that. I use I forgot her name. I think it's Headmistress Fiora. That's probably my favorite skin for her. The Halloween one.
Yeah, and that skin, the Headmistress Fiora, that skin as a stiff character because, you know, she's the headmistress. She is like perfectish, you know. Rather, which would make a person all stiff like.
Can't think of
in the end for me, it's really heads or tails with her. I mean, her gameplay, honestly, I find it was fixed appropriately. You shouldn't change it back. However, I like the old play style better.
Oh yeah,
the old style was so much cooler.
I like a lot of the old champions, like Frosty, our mutual friend, like the old Scion. The idea of just being a fucking AP nuke.
Huh.
Now, Scion is an example of a character that I don't even remember old Scion's personality. I don't think he had one, but they made sure to keep him dumb. And I liked the Scion rework. I thought it was perfectly fine. His ultimate is the Pain Train, and that is so cool to me. They made one skin for him where he's a fucking robot and he turns into a steam train. I mean, a cyberpunk train. Just rails into someone. I love that.
Yeah, Scion's one of the examples of a rework that I think only the people who had good experiences as the old Scion can complain. But anyone else, it's all good because he gained his berserker, really angry, must kill you kind of personality. I remember his old personality. He sounded like a dumb fuck. Kind of reminded me of Mundo.
And I think that's a pretty good distinction between the two. I'm worried about other reworks because like we just mentioned Fiora, and this I want to say this before it leaves my mind. With Fiora, you had this kind of a Master Yi clone type of thing. She had a dash. Her riposte thing was her most unique thing. Then she had like an attack speed buff. And then her ultimate was a 1v5. It was basically Master Yi's Q, but turned into an ultimate. Now she's
it was fucking awesome.
It really was. Now she has this whole thing of her Q is just better. It allows her to just jump in. Her passive is her whole mechanic. You got these little panels on the side of the champion you have to hit to do true damage and extra damage and all that shit. Her W requires a lot more timing. It's kind of like a counter punch. You just have to know when to do it. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't. Her E is a reset, which makes a lot more sense, and an auto crit. And her ultimate it's a fucking mini game, and I hate it, but it does so much damage.
Yeah. For
me,
Fiora's a 50-50 split.
The thing about, and I wanted to bring this up, that rework, I don't really agree with a lot of it, because I liked old Fiora, because she farmed like a monster and it was awesome. But I fear Jax getting a rework. I think he fits the bill for someone who needs an overhaul. Even though Jax, I think, is a perfectly fine champion. I said that about Taric. I think Taric's completely fine. Do not gut Taric. Fiora, back in the day, I saw that her kit, it didn't have a lot to it, so they're going to gut her. Taric, I didn't think he needed gutting, but he got gutted.
I was actually able to see Taric's gut. I mean, like I said earlier, and we showed the clip. One play. Only one possible play.
Okay, fair enough, I suppose. But the thing is, sometimes Riot makes weird choices. For example, Poppy's ultimate, back in the day, lock onto that worthless character, bash the head of the AD carry. That was cool. Now her ultimate is kind of like you have to hit the entire team to isolate that one wimp. It's kind of the same thing, but not fucking really. With the new Warwick update, Warwick retains his ultimate to some degree. It's a skill shot now because this is 2017. Everything has to be a goddamn skill shot. With Shen, they threw away his stupid Q and gave him an actually good Q where he gets a extra buff, but now he has no range. I don't know what they're going to do at Jax because I think Jax's kit is perfectly fine. He jumps, he hits you hard with an auto-attack reset, which I mean, that's probably going to be the thing they fucking change. He dodges. That's one of the most unique things to him, but now they gave Shen a fucking dodge. And his ultimate, every third strike, he hits you really, really hard. And his passive, as long as he keeps hitting something, he hits it faster. That's all Jax does. If he fights you, he's going to be dodging your hits, and he's going to be hitting you really, really hard and really, really fast. And he's the guy with probably the most one of my favorite lores. Jax is my favorite character in all of League of Legends. Ever since I got into the game, Vi is like my all-time favorite champion to play, and I like her lore a lot, but Jax is like an inspiring champion. He fought 152 battles, which wasn't a lot, but he had a 152 win streak. He was so powerful that the original lore was they had to nerf him. They're like, the only weapons you're allowed to use are like a rubber chicken, a fishing rod, and a brass lamppost. In the new lore, Jax was so badass that he's like, hey, I'll stop using all the weapons, but I'm gonna use a brass lamppost. And the counselor's like, Jax, you can have a weapon. Maybe like a bow staff? Nah, I like brass lamppost. See you guys. And he just kept winning. In this realm of gods like Xerath and Nasus, and world-eating monsters like Cho'Gath and Kha'Zix, you got Jax.
And Bard. Don't forget Bard.
You got Bard and Aurelion Sol. you've got demon lords like Aatrox, and you've got wandering spirits like Kindred. You've got commanders like Jarvan and Darius and Swain, and you got Jax, a humble man with a brass lamppost. And Jax is better than all of them. You have Victor here, who is making an army of fucking like cyborg destroyers. You've got like Ionia with all these ninjas and mystical arts. And you got Jax here. Lamppost. I'ma kill everybody. He looks at Malphite, who, according to his lore, is actually the size of a fucking planet. Same thing with Cho'Gath. He's the shard of this infinitely huge monolith. He's just a small chunk. And Malphite, this humongous mountain to planet-sized creature, is going to get smashed in the face by Jax. They're going to do something, because he's got really bad splash art design that needs to be updated, and his kit is just, it's old. Like, the dodge mechanic is one of the oldest things in League of Legends, and I really don't want that to change. But just like with Taric, I love the point-and-click stun. That was my favorite fucking thing about him, and they changed it. I like the Baron buff. They changed that. And if you saw the Taric rework incoming, then fine. You can have it that way. But, looking at another champion, let's look at Gangplank, for instance. Gangplank's rework made sense to me, and I kind of want it to be like that. His E was basically like, I think his E was like an attack speed and attack buff or some shit, like something completely worthless.
Now, I completely forgot what he did before.
I don't even remember what Gangplank did. I think he literally had an attack speed, and attack buff. Now he has barrels. I want them to do something like that to Jax. Keep his dodge, keep his jump. Maybe his W is not an auto attack reset that hits on towers, even though it does a crap ton of damage. Maybe give him some innate wave clear. Just do something small. Because even though the Gangplank rework visually changed him a bunch and gave him new lines, he was still Gangplank. His ultimate is now upgradable to different degrees. His barrels are a big part of him now. But he still keeps his point and click, shoot you in the face with a gun, and some oranges. Shen's rework was simple too. It's just like,
how about?
Oh, sorry.
Dude, how about that ult? If there was ever anything that needed the rework, it was Gangplank's ult.
Oh yeah, Gangplank's ult never did damage.
It was garbage. You could have less than 100 HP left, stand in a dead center, and you have about an 80% chance of surviving it.
It was actually random. That was the thing that was retarded about it. Now it actually is guaranteed to hit everything in there.
The only thing good about his ult back then was that it was global. That's it.
His ultimate is still global.
Yeah. So they kept the only thing that was good. They had made it consistent and useful, and they made it a tad bit customizable.
You see, that's the type of rework that I'm looking for. You don't have to, they didn't really change Gangplank's personality, because he was just, I think he's one of the poster boys for League of Legends, too. He's just, I'm the pirate. Grr. That's all he really was to me.
I don't know anything about him as far as that context goes.
When I played Gangplank, I used to love playing Crit Plank. You can't do it anymore, but basically his Q could crit, and you just build 100% crit. What's funny is if you build 100% crit, Darkmane showed this, if you auto-attacked, he doesn't auto anymore. Before he would actually hit it with his sword, but instead he just quickly whips out his gun and shoots the minion in the face.
I don't know anything about it.
I'm gonna show a little bit of that. I'm gonna take a little bit of Darkmane and be like, he just takes out his gun, pulls it out, and just puts it in the minion's face, pulls the trigger. Point blank.
Now, when Gangplank crits, he brings out a little gun and he shoots it, so if you get lots of crit and you go and try to farm minions, well, this is what it sounds like.
I don't know. I like the champion reworks for what they are in competitive, because it's hard to deny that they're objectively better on an LCS standard. Poppy's ultimate is way more useful because it disengages bad fights. It follows up. It's more of a dueling thing, I guess. Galio, his ultimate is just better. You could say whatever you want about his personality, but his ultimate's just better. I mean, the 5-man ult, we have a Mumu. Okay, if you wanted that, you just play a Mumu.
I guess, but when it came to Galio's kit, what really hurt me is losing the Shield of Durand W. Because, I played him as support. Because you slap that shield on your ABC, and your ABC is authentically now Graves, but now better. Graves, then you have a top laner. Top
You-
lane tank.
I don't know. I always felt Galio was more of a mid laner because he was supposed to be anti-mage, a lot of people.
Yeah, and typically the support is mage.
No, not necessarily. Supports are really a lot of different things, but yeah, I could see how the game shifts, but I think they made him more of you really want to play this guy as a mid laner or a top laner, especially now as mid laner. Apparently from Donghuop, a lot of people at the challenger level are playing Galio mid because he's just too much of a pain in the ass to deal with. And top lane Galio is nothing to scoff at either. I'm not sure how people are doing as support or jungle because he really does feel like a completely balanced champion in every degree aside from AD carry. I mean, you could try that out, but that'd be a bad experience for us. I love that his Q is basically, and I don't know if you've ever played Smite before, but there's this dragon called, I think his name is Ao Kuang or something, and his whole thing is that he basically spits out a tornado, and if you get near it, you take Teemo damage from like burn. So like the tornadoes pull off that big tornado and hurt you. So essentially you throw out this tornado that slowly expands with Galio, and you get into it and you take damage and you're like, oh shit, I have to walk away from it. In Smite, you walk into it, you walk away from it, you take some Teemo damage. It's really fun. So I actually really like Galio's Q because it reminds me of Smite. But his
I do want to get to talk about the last champion that got a rework, and I haven't heard of this list right before this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you have the floor because I honestly don't care. I play her as an alternative to Janna, and I hope I'm hyping her up for you. The queen of healing, Soraka.
I think that she needed a visual update, and that was fair. Yeah, she wasn't horrible before, but she's better now. No question in my mind, or eyes, I guess. But then there was her kit. Now, at first, she had the Star Call where she made it rain, and honestly, that Star Call is meh to me. I don't care for it. I mean, it was good, whatever, but I also don't care for the new one either, except for the last change they did to it. It really, really bothered me because I really appreciated getting the flat health rather than the healing over time that you could spread. To be honest, I almost felt like the whole reason they changed it was because healing a flat chunk more with her W would have been crazy. So they had to introduce a new mechanic because they wanted something with spread. But what really gets me they took away the ability for her to restore the secondary bar for their ally. I mean, yeah, it was just mana, but they easily could have fixed that. So that we could give or restore a secondary bar for Mordekaiser's shield, get him some shield. Yasuo's wind shield, even though we'll probably get popped by a Tristana. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Energy for various champions. Rage. Rage would be funny. A Tristana runs up to you, casts a spell, and you get angry.
I did not realize that it didn't just restore just mana. It restored like energy and fury.
It only restored mana back then.
Oh,
I was just saying what I just said would have been a pretty decent fix. That would have been made her stay seriously unique because no one can restore any resource for another champion with the exception of Clarity,
which no longer exists
in Summoner's Rift. What, really? They took it off Summoner's Rift? Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I use Clarity in ARAM, and I forget that they took away. So she's not unique anymore. Now she just has a field of silence, then roots, which, it's an AoE silence, and Malzahar can do that. And AoE roots that, not many people just fall for it. So it's better as a zoning tool. And yeah, there's also Malzahar, by the way. He's a rework champion, but, he's cool. He's cool. No, people have had problems, but still, he's cool. And Soraka's personality, she always was. But yeah, that's about it for Soraka. I really don't have much to say on her besides the fact that Really missed the mana restore. That could have been better.
And yeah, I don't have much to say about the other champions. I have yet to play Urgot, and I've given Warwick a fair shake a little bit. I think Warwick's rework is just absolutely what you should look forward to in a champion rework, because he just makes sense to me. It's kind of weird, his build path. You kind of have to build Tiamat on him, but overall, my main issue with League is the personalities, with characters that have very little to it. Like, Warwick had a definitive personality. He was the evil thing of League of Legends. He was the chemist that had no chemistry thing on him. Now he has this bio stuff on him. It's cool. Scion is the big, dumb, meathead berserk machine. That's good. Yeah, stuff like Galio and Tristana and Poppy is just, they all have these one-liners, and that just kind of like rubs me the wrong way, because it doesn't fit for me. You know, I expect one-liners from meathead assholes like Garen. You know what I mean? For honor we serve.
Yeah. Man, I'm glad I finally got to get my voice out for this. I don't know how much momentum it will gain, but hell, I'm just glad it's out there. Someone could see, be like, yeah, you know what, I agree, or about the reworks. I mean, I understand it's a lot to ask to be like, Riot, make straight perfect champs that I would approve of. That's just asshole to ask, but at least don't establish a pattern. Most of the rework champions, unless they don't have it in their personality to make a joke, they make the same brand of joke, just with different words and the different voice. Brand. Brand also got a tiny little rework, but, you know, Frosty, he explained it. He gave me a good reason. Apparently Brand wasn't so good at 1v1, so Bolt really just hits once on a 1v1 scenario. That's what he said it was, and I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not, but hell, I have faith in his information for the champions he cares for.
I've got nothing else to say. For Brand, I've never actually given him a fair shake either. With the mid-season update, that's just literally changing mages of who they were. And that's kind of like updates that I'm for updates on champions instead of complete overhauls. I hate that kind of crap. And I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff like Victor. Just change him to look presentable. That's all they did for him.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did look different before. I completely forgot. Yeah. Got used to his new look so fast. Just goes to show how much he needed it, since, you know, basically would deleted his old look from my mind right away. But yeah, that's about it. That's really probably end it now.
Alright, well, it's been a fun podcast, and I think we'll close it right here.